There was a time when I was a young entrepreneur where I had to deal with some pretty big problems. But at the time, I noticed something. I was attaching myself to those problems, making them a lot bigger than they were. And the more I attached, the more I slowed the flow of opportunities to make money and to build real wealth. We amplify things in our minds, and that's human nature. And I learned the hard way that the more you obsess, the more you worry, the heavier life becomes. But then I discovered something, and it's called the Law of Detachment. And it changed my life forever. And I believe if you watch until the end of this video, your life will never be the same either. So let's talk about emotions. They can run wild, they can get the best of us. But if you want to live life to the fullest, if you want to experience the enjoyment of life, you have to learn not to let negative emotions destroy your progress. Or I can say you release the emotions, the negative emotions that can get away of accomplishing your goal. And again, I know some of the people out there don't like the word manifest, but let's say actualize or actually accomplishing a goal. You see, attachment can be fear. It's scarcity, it's idolatry, putting money above God. But detachment is faith, it's trust, it's saying, I'll do the work, but God, I trust you with the result. So during my day-to-day, I make sure that I do everything that I possibly can and leave the rest up to the Lord. And Proverbs 3:5-6 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. And that's detachment. So let's talk about why attachment can keep you broke. Attachment moves you into desperation, leads you to bad decisions. You'll accept draining clients because you need the money. You chase shiny objects because you're scared to miss out. You undervalue yourself because you're clinging to survival. And the Bible warns us in 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10, for the love of money is the root of all evil. Not money itself, but the love of it. And when you're operating in attachment, even if you grab a hold for a moment, it slips away. Proverbs 23:5 says, cast but a glance at riches, and they are gone. For they will surely sprout wings and fly up to the sky like an eagle. Attachment is like trying to squeeze water in your fist. The tighter you grip, the faster it leaks. So let's talk about the psychological breakdown of the law of detachment. When you attach to something, money, clients, results, you attach worry, and worry drains energy. Your brain interprets that attachment as survival. You enter fight or flight mode. Cortisol rises. You're in survival, not creation mode. You're not thinking in possibilities. You're thinking in desperation. Your mind loops. What if I fail? What if it doesn't work? That rumination burns energy. That should be used to build and to create. And that constant record that plays over and over again in your mind burns energy. Psychologists call this the scarcity effect. Scarcity narrows your perspective. You can't see abundance, only lack. So you make desperate, short-term choices. And others can feel it. People can sense the desperation. That energy pushes away the very opportunities that you're chasing. That's why Jesus said in Matthew 6:27, who of you by worrying can add a single hour to your life? Worry doesn't add, it subtracts peace, clarity, and wealth. So the deep truth here is most people attach out of scarcity. Scarcity says, if I lose this, then there won't be any more. That's why you cling to draining clients that drain your energy for a little bit of cash, or low-paying jobs. You undercharge for your work, and you hoard instead of sowing. Scarcity convinces you to grip tighter, but gripping tighter only squeezes the blessing away. And psychologically, again, scarcity hijacks the mind. Spiritually, scarcity is unbelief. Forgetting Psalm 24:1, the earth is the Lord's and everything in it. If God owns it all, how can you fear lack? What a powerful passage. Proverbs 11:24-25 says, one person gives freely, yet gains even more. And another withholds unduly, becomes the poverty. A generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed also. So scarcity leads to attachment. Abundance leads to freedom. So let's talk about detachment, emotions, and opportunities. Attaching yourself eats up your time and energy. When your emotions are tied to one deal or one outcome in your life, or even problems, you waste hours stressing over them. And that's energy you could be spending creating another opportunity. That's why I talk about mastering skills. Skills give you leverage. Skills let you maneuver in the marketplace so you're not tied down to one client, one paycheck, or one job, or one door to knock on. With skills, you can pivot instead of panic. Even Grant Cardone admitted there was a time he focused too much on one deal. He told his team, We've got to go find another opportunity. We're not putting all our eggs in one basket. We're not dependent on just that one deal. He caught himself attaching to the deal. And when he detached, he went and found other opportunities that generated even more income. It's the same spiritually. Detachment frees your energy to keep sowing, keep building. And Ecclesiastes 11:6 says, sow your seed in the morning, and at evening let your hands not be idle. For you do not know which will succeed, whether this or that, or whether both will do equally well. Detachment from the one seed keeps you moving. Keep sowing, keep planning. So let's talk about how detachment creates wealth, how this can change your life forever. So how does detachment build wealth? Mastering a skill set, applying wisdom, applying your knowledge, and aligning with God's timing. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, to everything there's a season, time for every purpose under heaven. Detachment keeps you from forcing things outside of their season. But be prepared. Philippians 4:6-7 says, be anxious for nothing, and the peace of God will guard your hearts and minds. Peace breeds clarity. Clarity leads to wise decisions, and wise decisions create wealth. And energy of abundance. When you detach, you stop vibrating at fear and start vibrating at faith. That attracts opportunities and clients because people sense the abundance. People love when people are sharp. People love when people are energetic. It's attractive. Psalm 34:10 says, the lions may grow weak and hungry, but those who seek the Lord lack no good thing. So Law of Detachment declares, God is my source. I will not lack. I think in possibilities. I see opportunities everywhere. So let's talk about how you can practice detachment. You set clear intentions. Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision, make it plain. So write it down. Write down your vision, your goals, the things you want to accomplish in life. Put it on a whiteboard. Look at it every day. Then take a line action. James 2:26 says, faith without works is dead. You have to act. Take massive action. And then release the timeline to God. And Isaiah 55:9 says, my ways are higher than your ways. Then give thanks in advance. Mark 11:24 says, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. So gratitude locks detachment. So there was a time when, I'll tell you a quick story. There was a time when I clung to like every dollar. I was stressed out over sales, bills, and business. And the harder I pushed, the less came in. I was just gripping everything, attaching myself to everything. And then I shifted and I started to put God first. I released the outcome to him. I detached from the circumstances. And that very day, a client gave me an extra $100 just because I made him feel good, right? Because I was vibrating at that frequency of abundance. I had spent time with God, a lot of time. So it wasn't just because of my pitch. It was because how I carried myself. And that was favor. That wasn't me forcing anything. That was God's favor on me that day. And that's the place we should stay at every single day. We should be in his presence, seeking him first, meditating on him day and night, like Joshua 1:8 says. Meditating on the word so that we have good success. Detaching ourselves from outcomes. Attaching ourselves to God. But working unto the Lord with all our might. Putting in our hours. Using every hour to the fullest capacity. And then leaving the rest of the outcome up to the Lord. And I'll tell you, once I learned this, like it seems cliche, it seems simple. But when it's spoken to you and it clicks, right? You're like, wow, you think to yourself, man, I've been attaching myself to the emotional realm with all the problems that I've been having in my life. Whatever hurdle in business and life, I amplify it instead of just letting go and jumping over it like a hurdle. So detaching emotionally, because emotions create friction. If you can just flow without attaching, in that place of detachment, you literally become unstoppable. Thriving under pressure, keeping focus, exercising that muscle of focus. Matthew 6:26 says, look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? So when you detach, you step out of survival mode and into trust mode. And that's where provision flows. Let's talk about the paradox of detachment. Here's the paradox. It's kind of like that boy or girl you used to chase after. And they knew you liked them, right? And immediately, because they knew, they avoided you. But as soon as you stopped liking them, then they started liking you. Matthew 6:25 says, whoever wants to save their life will lose it. But whoever loses their life for me will find it. Kind of like a paradox there in the scripture. So cling desperately and you lose. Release to God and you gain. So money stops owning you you can store it, multiply it, and use it for kingdom purposes because your identity is no longer tied to it. So the law of detachment, the secret to wealth, because it shifts you from fear to faith, from scarcity to abundance, from control to trust. So detach from the outcome. Do the work God called you to do and trust Him to provide the increase. And 1 Corinthians 3:6 says, I planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the increase. That's detachment. You plant, you water, but God brings the harvest. So if you've been chasing, stressing, and clinging, it's time to let go. Trust God, build consistently, and watch how wealth flows in ways you never expected. And that's it for this video. If this video has somehow changed your life in some way, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share it with somebody who might need it. And if you want to sharpen your focus for more wealth, I invite you to check out my accelerated mindset training. This is the exact mindset that changed my life forever. How I'm going to get more done in less time, how I'm going to stay hyper-focused, and to start crushing my goals like clockwork. And I also just launched the One-Person Digital Empire Blueprint, where I show you how I made a whole salary online with the principles in the training. Links down below. Build your empire. And if you need any help or have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And I did add the accelerated mind to the Digital Empire Blueprint just recently, so you can get the 2-for-1. Price may go up soon. And I'm still working on the Power to Get Wealth book. It's still in progress. I'm going to do my best to finish it up in the next few months. If you want to get on the early launch list, link will be down below in the description. And again, that's it for this video. I'll see you on the next one. Be blessed, and I'll see you soon.